gentlemen, I have arrived back on the mainland from Disney and the cruise. I've made it back in almost one piece. Pops has the night off tonight. He is gallivanting around Sugar Land, Texas, but I have the esteemed pleasure to be joined by Mr. Dalton Wasserman of the Preferred Walk-On Podcast. Dalton, thank you for coming. Welcome to the show.
I absolutely appreciate it, Mike. And I'll tell you now, all of a sudden, I didn't realize he had the night off. Your dad had the night off, man. I feel like I'm filling some big shoes here, right? I feel like I'm really I better not let him down here taking his spot here for a night.
Listen, okay, he wears a size 10, so the shoes are not huge, but everybody loves Pops more than me at this point. I started the show, but he came in as the co-host, and now everyone's like, oh, where's Pops? I'm like, okay, you got me, okay. Got the night off. You know, he's touching 70 now. So, you know, he's got to go to sleep around this time, some of the time. You know what I mean? So, man, we're going to get into it tonight. We got NFL to talk about. We got NCAA football to talk about. We got your top 10 draft prospects for next year I want to get into. But my first question to you is about the draft, right? You watch a draft. And if you want to tell the people where they can find you on Twitter, you're a great follow on Twitter. A lot of great content there. I saw the live images from Pittsburgh. It made me uncomfortable, like seeing how uncomfortable people were at the draft. Like, I mean, it's turned into this thing where there's hundreds of thousands of people that go. I want to be on my spot on the couch with my prospect list. I want my pizza on one side. I want my wings on the other. I want a frosty cold beer on each side as well. And I want to watch the draft. I don't want to be like this next to somebody else and there's no bathroom 10 feet away. What are your thoughts on this, like the phenomenon that's become the NFL draft?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with you. I don't know that unless I had like some special reason to cover it up close that I would go there and just stand out there all night, right, just to see my team make one or two, or I guess the Jets this year made 3 picks. So for me, it would have been 3. So a lot of suspense, top, middle, and bottom of the first round there. But yeah, I don't know about it. I'm kind of with you where I'm like, I mean, I go to like music festivals and things like that all the time and that sort of thing. But there's like constantly something going on, you know, the long breaks and then the announcement and all of that. Like this was the first time, and I think about 4 years or so that I got to just sit on my couch and not have to work it or cover it on the website or do anything, do a show. The last 2 years I was doing a show. Last year I did all 3 days of the show and I was still at PFF. So, you know, kind of the first time I got to sat back and also me and Max Chadwick and a couple of the other guys, we were here. We made a rule. We were like, hey, don't find the picks on Twitter beforehand. Don't ruin the picks, man. We're going to do this old school. We're going to get the announcements, and we're going to freak out accordingly. And we had a great time this year, man. It was such a fun time watching it. Obviously, I love covering it, and I was tweeting up a storm during the whole process. But it was fun to really sit back for the first time in a while and just kind of watch it even as fans would.
Yeah, and it's like, yes, and I watched it with my buddy Steve, and I told him, I said, put your phone down. I don't know, because there's 2 different types. Like, you can't be on one side and watch with somebody on the other side, because then they're going to be like, oh, wait till you see what happens. I'm like, no, don't do that. Don't tell me that. Like, let me be disappointed in my Dolphins pick live. 2 picks. First of all, your Jets, how do you feel about your boys? You like the Bailey over Reese? I mean, I'm down here in Big 12 country. David Bailey's a monster. Yeah. Orville Reese, though, might be the next Micah Parsons. Did you like the David Bailey pick?
I'm in on it. I think I'm not quite as high on Reese as just a full-time edge rusher as, you know, some others are. Obviously, the potential is there, and he's got a boatload of potential. But I liked Reese better as a linebacker, and it seems like early in his career, at least, he's going to do that, you know, most of the time for the Giants over there. I want to say across town, but it's not really. I liked him better as a linebacker who can play off the edge when you need him to. I think he's got a lot to work on as a pass rusher. But I think you mentioned Micah Parsons there, too. His first year with Dallas, he played mostly linebacker, and then he was just so good rushing the passer when they sent him. They were like, all right, we have to move him. That might happen with Reese down the line, but as far as what you're getting out of an edge rusher right now, I do like David Bailey better.
And then you end up with my draft crush at the end of the first round. Like the Dolphins, I was screaming for him to be a Dolphin. But do you have the man crush? And I'll let you introduce one of the newest members of the New York Jets at the wide receiver position. And you ended up with my tight end man crush too. You got 2 guys that are going to be just trendsetters, I feel like, for the Jets.
Yeah, no, I mean, you talk about a team that just needs weapons aside from Wilson. They certainly got him. I mean, you mentioned Kenyon Sadiq there, tight end 1 in this draft with a lot of potential. We'll see how Frank Reich can use him. I think there's still some things, especially in his route running and stuff, to work on. But, yeah, I mean, you talk about an athletic freak. That's what people look for in these tight ends nowadays. And then Omar Cooper from Indiana, man, I kind of saw him as more of that borderline first, second round pick. Cooper at 16, I would have been like, that might be a little much. But to get him there at 30, to get him to fall that far, especially after all the hype we heard about him the last 3 months. And I mean, obviously all those guys coming from that Indiana team, I think they had 8 guys drafted in total and several more signed as UDFAs. It was a loaded team. They were the best team in college football. So I think when you talk about just adding a depth of weapons to that offense, yeah, I'm totally in on it, man. I mean, I think you have to just look at it and go, there's some development that both of those guys, especially Sadiq, have to go through. But the Jets, the big thing I wanted to see from them, build the rest of the environment. We're not going to get a franchise quarterback this year. Build the rest of it. That's how they chose to go about it. They got pretty good value on both those guys.
It's so weird because as Giants, I think, did well. Love what the Giants did in the first round. I don't love what my Dolphins did, but I think the move of the draft was the Cowboys going to get Caleb Downs. Now, I don't love taking a safety at 11. That's a tough sell for me, but the Cowboys are so much farther along than the Dolphins. But of course, it's the Dolphins. So everyone's going to say, oh, here, they screwed another draft. I'm like, I'm not ready to go that far because I know you like Proctor. I like Proctor. As long as we keep him away from the buffet, I think we'll be okay down there in Miami. But I love the Downs move for Dallas. That's a solid move. I love it.
It's a terrific move. I mean, I had him. I thought he was the best football player in this draft, and they got him at number 11, and they were maybe the team that needed him more than any other in football, right? I mean, they can score with the best of them. You've got Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens and Javonte Williams and all these. They can put up 30 points a week, but you just look at their defense and they give up 40, and you just can't have it, right? Caleb Downs, to me, was one of the few guys in this draft who could change the complexion of a defense and maybe of a whole team in this case. I think it's brilliant. I mean, they couldn't have asked for a better player to fall to them and obviously trading up one spot than Caleb Downs. I mean, I think there's a legitimate chance now that this Dallas defense can turn around, and it starts with that kid right there.
Oh, 100%. And I just stroke it on offense, just throw it around the yard. Get some stops defensively. I mean, I think they could very easily win that division next year. 100%. I think the Cowboys could win the NFC East. But then again, they're the Cowboys, so they might screw it up. We'll see.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's always – and that division, too, especially, we don't often get repeat winners. What was it? The Eagles were the first repeat winner in like 20 years or something like that. So you don't often get it, and it certainly sounds like A.J. Brown's not going to be there. That doesn't make your team better by any means.
No. And to kind of pivot a little bit towards – college football next season, as we're talking about these prospects. I don't know about you. I think this next year in college football could be one of the greatest years ever. I think talent-wise, there's so much talent, I feel like, in college football, specifically next year when you look at the quarterback spot, when you look at the wide receiver spot, you look at offensive line. There are so many dudes. But then now this transfer portal starting to make an impact. And if you get it right there, LSU with all the guys they're bringing in, you look at the University of Texas, like there's so many questions. I feel like, does Georgia make a comeback? I think that with this Texas Tech news, I think the Big 12 is kind of an open race there now. BYU, the second year for their quarterback there. What is the guys from North Texas making the move over to Oklahoma State? I think that I don't think they're ready just yet, but Nestor Maker, I feel like, is a star. I mean, that dude, but do you feel the same way? Like, are you as excited next year? Like, I look at the draft this year and I'm like, okay, good players. Next year, I feel like it'd be a huge boom year. Like, you could have star after star next year in the draft.
I think the fun part, there's so much talent, like you mentioned, and the 2027 draft is going to be a monstrous one. And it's at all the flashy positions, too. Like you mentioned, you talk about quarterbacks, you talk about receivers, you talk about left tackles, you talk about pass rushers. There's a generationally great cornerback prospect, I think, in Leonard Moore from Notre Dame. I mean, at all of this year, we got all the big ugly positions, right? We got D-line, we got a good set of linebackers, right? There was a bunch of centers that went on day 2, but next year, year is going to be the fun draft, right? The sexy draft with all the fun positions, and everybody's going to know some of these guys. It feels like already within a couple weeks removed from the previous draft, we've heard just more names, and I feel like the draft scouts are even more heavy into next year's class than ever, because you're going to get a lot of lightning rod players at those top positions, right? That are considered the premium positions that really change your football team. I mean, it's going to be so much fun to watch. And then you mentioned just the competitive balance of college football. I think it's great, man. I think when you look at what, obviously, there's some things that everyone's going to say need to be reined in with NIL and tampering and all these things. And who knows if the NCAA will ever be able to fix that. Probably not, because that's kind of their history of not really fixing things. But I think when you look at the competitive balance of it, though, like a team like Indiana going undefeated, running the table last year, to me, the old system is now gone. Right? Yeah. You just got to build your football team every year. You build the best team, you put it out there, you coach it the best that you can, and you go out there and win ball games. Gone are the days of just the same 3 or 4 teams winning the title every single year. So I think when you look at teams like Texas Tech, if they have their quarterback situation settled, Indiana, any other jumpstart team can just go out there, and if they build the right roster and they coach it right, they can win a lot of ball games. They can get to the playoff. They can make some noise. You saw it with Ole Miss even this year making the Final Four. We're not used to that. We're not used to seeing Ole Miss near the top of the mountain, right? So I think the traditional powers are having a hard time because they can't just hoard all the players and the depth and, keep all the talent for themselves. If these kids go to a certain big school and they're not playing, they're going to go somewhere they can play. And I think that balance of talent and the competitive balance that comes with it, I think it's so much fun, especially with the expanded playoff.
And I think Dante Moore going back to Oregon not completely, but turned this thing on its head a little bit, because everyone was anticipating Moore leaving. And now it's like, okay, Moore's going back. Oregon's going to be just absolutely loaded. What is Penn State going to look like next year? Because I love Matt Campbell. I don't know how you feel about Matt Campbell. I think Matt Campbell can recruit, a tomato out of a garden by himself. You know what I mean? Like, I think he is so good. And if he gets the type of talent there, he could thrive. Virginia Tech, I think the ACC, I think James Franklin could make a huge mark at Virginia Tech too. And then you start talking about, what does LSU look like? What does, it's just, I'm stoked. Like, I want it to start now. Even with spring ball, I'm locked in. I'm locked in like I haven't been in a while for college football next year.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. The SEC is wide open. You could convince me of 5 or 6 teams that could win the SEC. The Big Ten, you've got some monster programs in the Big Ten right now, between obviously the top 3 in any order of Oregon, Ohio State, Indiana. They're all going to be gunning for a national championship again. And then you got some teams just behind them. Curious to see what Kyle Whittingham does at Michigan, right? Can Lincoln Riley finally get USC over the playoff hump, finally get him in there for the first time? The ACC, like you mentioned, I think the favorite is Miami right now. They're probably the most talented team, but they've also never won the ACC for, reasons of like, there's 1 or 2 big games a year. They always lose for some reason, right? There's always a week or 2 where they don't show up. And then it's like, we just had a team that was 8-5, and Duke win it last year. So I think when you look at the ACC and maybe even now the Big 12 being as open as they are, as wide open as they are, you get the supposed favorite just to slip once or twice. All of a sudden, everything gets turned upside down. I'm with you. The wide open nature, there's only like 3 or 4 teams that I would guarantee is they're going to the playoff, and we'll see how far they go. But man, all these conferences right now seem wide open.
You speaking of Duke, Darian Mensah. Sky's the limit for that kid. I feel like, you look, and I know we're bouncing back and forth between the draft and college football, but you're talking about, you could have 5 or 6 quarterbacks go in top 8 next year. That's incredible. And CJ Carr, we haven't even talked about Notre Dame, but you got CJ Carr, who they're calling Bo Nix 2.0. He does remind me a little bit of Bo Nix, but I do want to get your take on, everyone knows the best University of Texas team was 2005. Vince Young put that team on his back and willed them to victory that year. But there's a lot of conjecture that this year, talent-wise, this is the most talented team the University of Texas has ever had. Would you agree with that statement?
I think it's possible. That team that was a 2000 8 or 9, whichever team that was that lost to Alabama in that national title game when Colt McCoy got hurt too. That team was terrific. That was Brian Arakpo also on the defensive side of the ball, I believe. I mean, that was an unreal team that they had also. But I mean, there's a good argument, man. I think when you look at Arch Manning and what they did this year was just such a great job of building a better supporting cast around him. Because for as much as Manning got the blame last year, yes, he was missing throws. Yes, he had a little bit of the shakes the first half of the year. The run game was not very good at all. The receiving core was so young. When you look at what they've added, guys like Hollywood Smothers and Raleek Brown at running back, Cam Coleman. Now, Cam Coleman's got all the talent in the world. I mean, Arch, what do you need? Hey, you pick out a receiver in the portal. Hey, I'll take the kid from Auburn who's an absolute freak and just couldn't get an accurate throw to save his life in the last 2 years at Auburn. I mean, they've got a loaded football team. And then you look at just some of the guys they added on defense too. And that's I think the only question for me, and it sounds funny because this shouldn't be, is that Will Muschamp coming back as their defensive coordinator, and you go, okay, I think he's been out of the game for a couple of years. He obviously hasn't been in Texas in a long, long time. And I thought Pete Kwiatkowski was an excellent defensive coordinator. That's going to be a big question for me. Is just I think their defense is still super talented. I just want to see the play calling match that like it did the last couple of years, because I thought Kwiatkowski did an unbelievable job the last couple of years, especially.
He has. And I mean, 5 guys probably going to go in the top 12 when you talk about Arch, you talk about Colin Simmons, you talk about Gooseby at tackle, you just mentioned Cam Coleman, who arguably second or third best wide receiver in college football. I mean, it's hard to find deficiencies on that roster. But I'm glad we're on the same page there, because being in Big 12 country, had to ask you about that. Big 12, state of Texas, I should say. Texas, big school here. I did ask you before, what are your thoughts on the University of Houston? Just from an outsider's perspective, looking at the Big 12 with Texas Tech, but you got BYU. I think University of Houston with Wegman coming back, and they got Henderson, a top flight prospect who it's pretty crazy, because to get a guy like him to stay home. And he's been recruited to Alabama and Ohio State. And he said, look, I'm staying. And he's going to be okay with sitting behind Wegman for a year. I think that could only benefit him. But I think the University of Houston could be a dark horse to win the Big 12 this year.
Oh, I agree. I think they're a top right now. Looking at it, I think they're a top 3 team. Willie Fritz has done a hell of a job with that team. You talk about what he's got going out of this defense last year. That was a top 20 to 25 defense he had last year. Just an awesome group, especially in the secondary. Connor Wigman, who he was a guy I wasn't a huge fan of at Texas A&M, but he showed a lot of grit last year, especially when you talk about him and Dean Connors running the football. Connors obviously gone now, but I'm super intrigued with a guy like Mekhi Hughes, who Fritz had at Tulane, and he was great his first couple of years at Tulane, and then he just didn't get into any action in a loaded backfield at Oregon. So I think the run game should still be better. And I'll tell you something to watch out for. That was really their Achilles last year. They made a lot of portal additions on their offensive line. Houston won 10 games last year with, to be honest, a terrible offensive line. It should be a lot better with some of the guys that they added. If they can actually block this year, and you get Wigman going in the run game and Hughes good again, and then you've got Amari Thomas on the outside, that team is a threat. I think they're a top 3 team. It would not shock me at all if they were playing in the Big 12 title game. And, you mentioned with Texas Tech and their quarterback situation, if they don't have Sorsby, things get a lot more open. I think with Sorsby, I think Texas Tech is clearly the favorite if he ends up somehow being able to play. But I think it gets really open when you have maybe the best roster in the conference, but they have a major quarterback question. It opens the door for some of these other teams. And Houston is absolutely in that inner circle of contenders to me.
I think Willie Fritz, you hit the nail on the head. Just the guy could just flat out coach. Like he gets you excited. Like Dana Holgerson didn't do anything for me as a fan. He didn't get me excited to go to the watch him play. He was angry all the time. Fritz is just like, hey, let's just go play ball. Just go have a good time, And I think with the Big 12, the big story yesterday, the influx of cash that's available to these schools, I think the Big 12 is going to continue to make some noise for the next couple of years in this new landscape of college football. Do you like the playoff expanding? I don't, but I guess it's fine. I mean, I'm still going to watch, but I think 12 is like the perfect number.
I think 12 is a good number. I could live with 16. I'd be very, very curious to see what in the world the structure, if they were going to go to 24, looks like. And I'm pretty sure I just heard the AFCA is now endorsing, that's the American Football Coaches Association, that they're endorsing a 24-team playoff and potentially getting rid of conference title weekend. We'll see what that looks like in that structure, because I think 24 might be a bit much. I mean, when you're talking about, just basically put every ranked team in at the end of it, I guess you can do that. I think, people are complaining about the blowouts now and certain things. I think you're going to get that if you get, say, number 8 versus number 24. But we'll see. I think 16 is something that I would probably lean in on more. I don't mind that at all. And then I think, to me, the one thing that I would do with the playoffs, so let's get more games in these home stadiums, man. I really think that's big time. I know there's the tie-ins with the Bulls and all of that, but I want to see more of these home games. I'll tell you, 2 years ago, I was up there when Indiana had to go up to Notre Dame, and that place was electric. I mean, home playoff games. I don't know how college football never went to this before in the previous 140 years that we've been doing this, but home playoff games are unbelievable. I need more of those regardless of the structure that we get.
I totally agree. One of the coolest ideas that I think the NFL should look into are some of these interstate games at like an Eagles versus Steelers at Penn State Stadium, and just put 108 out, like Texans Cowboys at University of Texas Stadium. Like games like that can just, like, I don't know if you follow Banana Ball, but they just did a game at Texas A&M in front of 100,000 people. And I just think it would be so cool for sports, like playing hockey outside. That's great. Give me Steelers Eagles at Penn State. Like, I
kind of love it.
Yeah,
I kind of love it. You could do a football. You could do like a Florida version of that. I should say, like Bucks Jags, but like in the swamp.
Exactly.
Like, there would be a ton of people that go. I know it's more, the concern with that would be more about the field and all of. But if you could line it up where, like, okay, that team's on the road that weekend or whatever, that would kind of roll. Or do it for Thursday. Do it for a Thursday night game. 100%. That would kind of rock. I'm kind of in on that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, like Jets, Bills in the Carrier Dome. I mean, this thing, you can do like the Battle of LA. You do Chargers, Rams at the Rose Bowl. I mean, just
up here in Ohio, do Bengals, Browns, but at the Shoe.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
it's kind of rule.
That's what I'm saying. And then you kind of like get maybe a college game in an NFL stadium. You kind of swap those out. Like, I'm all in on that. Speaking of the Rose Bowl, Jaden Maiava, I like him. I like Jaden going to USC. Unfortunately, I don't love Lincoln Riley. Like, to compare it in sports, I feel like Lincoln Riley is like Tom Thibodeau in basketball, where he'll play well. He'll get his teams to play well, but they'll never win the big one. Like, Lincoln will never be a part of a program that will get it done. I feel like Jaden's got a good shot at getting him there, though.
I think, well, here's the problem. Lincoln Riley's offenses are always going to be elite. I believe Max Chadwick and we just ranked every Power 4 quarterback that's projected to start, all 68 of them. I think we had Jaden Maiava number 8. Really good arm, improvisational skills. I mean, a guy who can really chuck the deep ball, a little bit of a gunslinger. He likes throwing into those tight windows. But honestly, you could put darn near any quarterback with Lincoln Riley, and they're going to put up numbers because the offense is so well designed and it's usually very balanced, but especially through the air. I mean, quarterbacks are always putting up Heisman level numbers. The big thing with Lincoln to me is just look at every team he's ever been the head coach of. The problem's a defense. Right? They can't make any stops. I mean, even last year, you had the Bolitnikoff winner and Mekhi Lemon. You had Jacoby Lane. You were piecing together the run game. There was 2 good tight ends. Maiava was playing, honestly, better than I ever thought he would, considering, what we'd seen out of him from UNLV. And even the year before, 2024, he played a few games that were okay. But, I mean, he even exceeded my expectations last year, and to the point where now we're naming him a top 10 quarterback in the country. He's got NFL prospects, but they're going to make stops. You can't try to win games 45-42 every single week, and it's just been consistently the problem. Now they got another defensive coordinator. They lose D'Anton Lynn. Now they got Gary Patterson coming in, and they're trying to figure out the defense again. And just, I mean, that's always, if they ever had even just a solid defense, they should be a playoff team, because Lincoln Riley, he's an elite offensive coach, no question about it. You've got a really good quarterback. You got more weapons coming in there. They always have them. It's just, you got to make stops. I mean, what did they? That last year with Caleb Williams, they went 7-5 or 8-4, whatever. I mean, how? Right? You had Caleb Williams for a couple of years, 3 years actually, if you include the Oklahoma year, and they never even won the conference. So it's more about the defense. But I'm with you. Maiava's really good, man. Sometimes a little bit of a gunslinger for me in those big games, but USC's never going to have an offensive problem. It's the other side of the ball. They got to not give up 35 points a game in those big games.
I like the fit of Gary Patterson there, but what is Gary Patterson going to do in California? Like, that doesn't feel like a match made in heaven. Like, there are states that guys belong in. Gary Patterson does not belong in California. Like, I'm sorry. I can't imagine Gary Patterson boogie boarding on the beach. Like, I want him in a room focused on defense. Like, he feels like he belongs in Texas. Somewhere in Texas. Go to North Texas. Go to TCU where you were. Like, he's a Texas guy. He's not a California guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where I'm telling you, USC, Lincoln, they've just been throwing darts at the wall with this defense. I think they would have loved to have kept D'Anton Lynn, but and he's an awesome coach. They swiped him away from UCLA where he was before, but Penn State comes over with the money and they're like, hey, we need a defensive coordinator. So kind of is what it is, but they've been throwing darts at the wall at defensive coordinator for several years now, and this just feels like another one. I'm with you.
I think it's going to work though. I do think. You think it's the last year at Dabo at Clemson?
If I had to take a guess, I think so. First of all, I'm not in love with their roster as it's constructed, and they had what was supposed to be a really good team last year, and they underachieved. And I think it's just a case. We saw this. It's why Saban left Alabama. It's why Chip Kelly decided to be an OC instead of still being the head coach at UCLA. It's why Jimbo Fisher kind of got phased out of A&M. You've got to be able to adapt to the way things are now, right? Mm-hmm. And I think when it comes to Dabo Swinney, he's so much about the old school, hey, recruit and retain, right? And that's great. If it works now, that's awesome. But it's so much harder to retain these kids now, especially if they don't get to play much their freshman year. They will go somewhere where they're assured of playing time and they get that shot, and the money talks as well, obviously with the NIL and all that. But I just think the lack of willingness to like really get heavy in the transfer portal and add what they need, and the lack of willingness to adjust. Again, it's the same thing to me that did in Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M, and obviously he got a monster buyout out of that. But it's tough. It's tough for me to look at Clemson's roster. There's still some good things. The front seven will be okay. I like a couple of the young receivers they have, but there's a lot of holes on that team, and they've really lost their grip. 2 years ago, there's a lot of optimism, but I feel like last year, with the disappointing year that they've had, I think they've lost the grip on the ACC a little bit. So unless we see something surprising, I really could see it being his last year, because last year was really disappointing.
And I think Cristobal, speaking of the ACC, I think Cristobal he's awesome. Like, that guy, I could watch him coach just all day, every day. I think Malachi Toney is a budding superstar, not a star. I mean, I think the kid is just I haven't seen a lot of guys like him. I mean, I guess he's Tyreek. He reminds me of Tyreek Hill a lot. I don't think he has the speed that Hill has, but I also think Toney can do a lot more on the field, whether it's lining up at quarterback, put him in the backfield. I mean, the guy can just do everything. I can't wait to watch Malachi Toney. Like, I would pay to watch him play football.
Oh, that Miami offense is going to be fun. You get Darian Mensah, you get his number one receiver from Duke, Cooper Barkay, Toney, and then Mark Fletcher in the backfield too. That's just a big bull of a running back, man. We were just talking about him on our show today. Top 10 running back in the country. Toney, to your point about Tyreek Hill, or just, the special players, you think about Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. There are just guys on your team. When you have a special player like that, you got to make every game plan going, hey, that guy's got to see the ball 12 times. At least easy. You just have to. And by the end of the year, they made him the center of the whole passing game. Just everything revolved around Malachi Toney, or the threat of Malachi Toney, or wherever we can put him, or he can throw the football to. He was a high school quarterback. He can throw it to. The kid's ridiculous. I mean, to be just so clearly on so many fields, the best player on the field as a true freshman. And I want to say, if Max told me this right, I think he declared a year earlier. He graduated high school a year earlier or something. I mean, it's ridiculous. You would never in your wildest dreams go, oh, that kid just turned 18. I mean, he's just tearing up even in the national title game, he's tearing up the best team in the country. I mean, no, he's special, man. And that Miami offense and we know this is the one thing. We know Mario Cristobal is going to patch it together on the offensive line. If they have that, it doesn't even have to be as good as last year. If they just have that at a B to B plus level, their offense is going to be ridiculous, because they have Toney, and they had, to me, I like Carson Beck. They upgraded at quarterback with Mensah for sure. They're going to be able to push the ball downfield more.
Mark Fletcher, to me, is one of my favorite stories, dude. That guy is just a winner, and he's a leader. And I would love to see him as a Miami Dolphin down the road if they move on from Devon Achane. But I do want to get your take on a couple of things. I would be remiss if I didn't have a moment of silence for Spirit Airlines. Here on the show this week. Okay, that was enough. They came pretty quick, too. Those news like swept through. They're like, hey, Spirit's just going to close down. So everybody who's got a flight, good luck and safe travels. You ever fly Spirit?
Only a couple of times. I'm usually either Southwest or since I've moved here, since I've been here in Cincinnati, I'm pretty heavy on Allegiant too, because that gets me a direct flight back to Clearwater down in Florida. Or so that's only so they're kind of big up here, Allegiant too. So those I've probably done Spirit like, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 times, something like that. You know, it wasn't bad, but I'm also not the person with like the super high standard on airlines and things like that. Like just get me where I need to go, man. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm with you. I flew it once and I was terrified the entire time. You had to buy stock in either Malachi Tony or Jeremiah Smith long term. Who are you buying stock in? You can only buy stock in one.
Oh, for as much as I love Tony, it's Jeremiah. Jeremiah's an all-timer. I mean, he's just on that caliber of when you talk about the mega prospects we've had in the past at receiver, like Calvin Johnson, Julio Jones, AJ Green, those guys. Yeah, I love Tony. Tony's second. Tony's the second best receiver in the country to me right now. Jeremiah is just he's an alien. I don't even know. I don't know if I could even tell you a weakness right now. That guy, he should be in all likelihood the first non-quarterback taken next year, no matter what spot that is. That guy's going to change a franchise. There's not many like him.
And we could talk about this for hours. I think it's crazy to think that he might go 5th or 6th next year too in that draft, depending on how that board falls. If it's quarterback needy at the top and there's desperate teams that have to go trade up for a Dante Moore, an Arch Manning, if Mensa has a Heisman Trophy kind of year, you know, Mestamaker, if he just tears it up, like Jeremiah Smith could conceivably go 4th or 5th in that draft next year. And I mean, if I'm the Dolphins at 1, let's just say, and Willis doesn't have a good year and you end up with Arch and then you trade up and you mortgage the future to go get a Jeremiah Smith, if that's the way the board drops, I mean, somebody's going to get a potential first ballot Hall of Famer in Jeremiah Smith. He has every tool you could want.
I wonder the team that I wonder about the most with some of this process, depending on where they're picking, how many games they win, whatever, is let's say they were picking 3rd or 4th, the New York Jets, right? And they have 3 first-round picks. Well, they have 3 first-round picks next year. So could you go, hey, there's another quarterback we could get later or trade up for, and maybe, you know what, let's take Jeremiah 3rd just to have another special player on this offense, and then go, all right, you know, we'll trade up. Maybe we're picking wherever the Colts are picking. I don't know if they're going to be all that good this year, you know, things like that. I mean, you know, a team that with multiple options like that, maybe. But Jeremiah, we didn't have a receiver prospect like this year. He's the type of prospect that makes you think about, you know what? Maybe I find a quarterback elsewhere, because this kid, you don't get one of these receiver prospects once maybe every 5 years, maybe. Yep. If that. I mean, you're talking special. This isn't just good. I mean, to be honest, he could have came out this year and he would have been the no question number 2 overall pick, and the Raiders might have thought about him at 1.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't think the Raiders are sold on Mendoza. Something's off there, I feel. And maybe it's just the way that the Raiders kind of operate, and they, you know, and you got a first-year head coach, but you're bringing in Cousins. Like, I want Mendoza playing from day one. I don't want him sitting behind Kirk Cousins. I'm sorry, I don't. If I was a fan, I want him on the field playing right now. Okay, Cousins, $20 million here. Go sit over there. I want him playing. And it's something's off there. I mean, am I crazy?
No, No, well, certainly I'm not going to call you crazy the first time I'm here. So, no, I really do. I really do think, though, the Cousins thing. Look, I'm with you. I don't know that he'll start week 1. I think there's a better chance than they're letting on that he'll do that. But you know how teams do this, especially with quarterbacks. Oh, we're going to see. We're going to get him in the building and see where it goes and things like that. So, like, I don't take a whole lot of stock. Or like, what was it that they say with was it John Spytek, their GM, that was like, oh, we'd love to sit him the whole year. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. I think there's a chance Cousins plays the first 5 or 6 games? Sure. But Mendoza, look, the reps on the field have got to happen. They're not in a situation where it benefits them at all to sit him. This is not Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love and a team that should have won a Super Bowl that year and things like that. Like, he should play sooner than later. If he goes into the summer and preseason, he tears it up, yeah, put him in there week 1. Let's go. And Cousins, look, a big reason Cousins signed there too is just the familiarity with Clint Kubiak. Right. Sure. And I think the familiarity of the offense and having another voice from the quarterback perspective that can help Mendoza integrate into that offense. So, no, I don't. It's not crazy at all. I don't think there's any sort of like disconnect and you know, they don't like Mendoza that much. I think they love him. I think there was no doubt from the moment the college season ended, they were taking him number 1. I don't believe them either when Kirk Cousins will start the whole year. No, he won't. It doesn't benefit anybody really. You know, the first 3 or 4 games, 5, 6 games, if you want to do that. Even, you know, the Chargers did that with Tyrod Taylor before whatever shot that was that punctured his lung in week 3 or whatever. But no, he's not going to play more than a handful of games before Mendoza's in there.
I'd rather see Jamarcus Russell play than Kirk Cousins in 2026. Let's put it that way as it pertains to what I think about the Raiders this season. Before we wrap up, you're on record saying the barbecue sauce is the greatest condiment.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't feel bad. You don't feel that that's a legit take by you. It's the best.
Yeah, no. I mean, you could run them down. I love hot sauce, too. I'm a hot sauce guy, big time.
Okay.
You could throw me to spice any day of the week. But, like, dude, like, barbecue's like ketchup's overrated. It's incredibly average. And it's so average. It really is. Like, I don't get some people like I know, what is it? Isn't it Patrick Mahomes with ketchup on his ribeye steak or whatever? I'm like, no,
that's criminal.
Like,
it's criminal.
It's that part's criminal, but like to the point where some people absolutely love ketchup. I think it's average. I think mustard's horrible. I don't need mustard on anything. If it disappeared tomorrow, I wouldn't notice. I don't need mustard.
I do like spicy brown. I do like spicy brown mustard at a Jewish delicatessen. When I got my corned beef and my pastrami and a little bit of spicy brown mustard,
I'm when I talk about a little, like a little, I don't want mustard and mayonnaise. To me are so like, you better put like, I want to barely notice it. Barely. You put too much on there, I'm out. I'm absolutely out. No, I'm with you. There's those, but yeah, no. Barbecue's where it's at. I'll put barbecue on most things.
That's fair. Super Bowl pick 2027. Who wins it all?
I mean, everybody's gonna pick the Rams, right? And that's the part that. No, I mean, it just feels like, because I don't think a repeat's coming. I don't think we're getting Seattle again.
No way. Although I do love that pick, the backup running back for Notre Dame to replace Walker.
I'm a little off on that one. I understand that's what they needed. I didn't think another running back was worth a first round pick in this draft other than Jeremiah. But at the end of the day, maybe Schneider tried to trade out or tried to get something else. So I'm like, fine, you needed that. And in a draft like this, it's fine. A lot of those guys in that range are about the same level talent. I'm not a huge fan of it. I think he needs a little bit of work, but it kind of is what they need after losing Walker. All right, I'll do this. I'm going to do this. I'll put the Rams in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
And I reserve every right to change this pick by August, which I probably will. I'll put the Rams in the Super Bowl. I don't usually like picking things that have never happened before, but I do like the fact that the Buffalo Bills actually went and shook it up this time.
Oh God.
I will not sit here and tell you I'm the biggest Sean McDermott fan. I think the defense and a lot of situational football has been their problem for years. I actually do like the fact that they just went ahead and promoted Joe Brady, because I love Joe Brady. He's an unreal play caller. I think he's great in the chemistry with Allen, and then getting Jim Leonard in there as their defensive coordinator, man, he's awesome too. He's an awesome play caller. Again, I reserve the right to change it as I get into more. Once we get to August, maybe I'll make it more official. I'll change it up. I'll go Bills over Rams. I'm going to do that.
I'm going to go Texans over the Rams. If they get nominal play by CJ Stroud and David Montgomery and Woody Marks are a decent enough tandem, they've done enough on that offensive line. That defense might be the nastiest defense of the past 15 years. I really don't. If they stay healthy, and especially with the addition of Blankenship and the Caden McDonald pick, I think they got him at 36. I mean, that kid is unbelievable. And you talk about him, you talk about Anderson, I think it's a game changer. You got another year, Daniil Hunter, Toa Toa. They have so many playmakers just all over the place. Kalen Bullock is going to be one of the best safeties in football. Kamari Lassiter just will rip your head off. I love the Texans this year. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I don't think the Dolphins have a shot this year, maybe next year. Final question of the night. Give me your sports Mount Rushmore of movies.
Man, this is tough because I admittedly this always sounds funny and people look at me funny when I say this, but I'm not a huge movie guy, so like there's a lot of whiffs when it comes to movies that I've seen. So I'm gonna try to piece sports movies. I'm gonna try to piece this together, and it's gonna be a whack list because there's so many I haven't seen. Let me start with Rocky. I mean, that's just a classic. I do love a good boxing movie, and there's so many good ones. I do love. We'll throw Rocky up there because that was really the first of its kind. But I mean, you got so many great ones, right? You talk about Raging Bull, $1 Million Baby. I love The Fighter too. Even The Fighter with Mark Wahlberg, the Mickey Ward one was great. But I'll go with Rocky, and just most of that series it's just phenomenal. So we'll go with that. Okay. I'll go with a personal favorite one. You're wearing the Bobby Boucher jersey right there. Give me the Water Boy. I'm in on it, man. Give me the Water Boy. That's Adam Sandler on just the absolute heater of a run he was on in the 90s. Yeah, that's definitely one of them that's up there. Plus, he had Henry Winkler coaching. That's just fantastic. Always love the Fonz. Man,
Kathy Bates too. Kathy Bates was solid in that movie.
Oh, she's great in everything. Oh, she's unbelievable at everything she does. Oh, all right. We'll go with those two. I know there's going to be some of your people here are going to be like, there's so many movies you probably haven't seen. I'm like, yeah, I'm aware. All right, so we got.
I'm a fan so far. I like the two.
We got Rocky. We got the Water Boy. Man, I'm trying to think.
There's no bad news answer.
The Bad News Bears is probably in there.
Original or the new one?
The new one's all right, but the original is you got to go with it. You got to go with the original and the Bad News Bears.
I mean, little Tanner Boyle, Tanner Boyle being on your team. I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to go to work. And then they bring in Amanda Wurlitzer to be the pitcher that they need. I mean, they play a little small ball. Okay, I'm a big fan. I think they absolutely screwed in that last game. Oh, Kelly Leak, what a badass that is Kelly Leak.
Absolutely. What's the fourth one? I'm trying to almost mix up sports here, but I'm trying to think of.
I mean, you could argue little Denzel Washington. You got Remember the Titans, which some people in today's day and age have said is overrated. I don't believe that it's overrated. I think it's great. You got Sandlot, you got Major League, you got Bull Durham, you got Hoosiers, you got Rudy, you've got Coach Carter deserves an honorable mention. So many good. There's Miracle. I mean, Miracle's up there. I love that's a great movie.
Let's go real old school. I'm gonna go real old school on you.
Okay,
I'm gonna go way back. And listen, as you can tell, I'm a Met fan. I'm gonna just throw in a real old movie. How about Pride of the Yankees? You ever see Pride of the Yankees?
I did. I have.
Let's do that. The Lou Gehrig story, man. Gary Cooper. I mean, let's just. I just want to throw in. Let's go way back before even all of these and go. One of the real originals back in the day. Let's go Pride of the Yankees. I'll be honest with you. I don't respect the Yankees much, especially since I was born the Jeter days. I can't stand Derek Jeter and all that. But those older teams are going back. Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Mickey Mantle, all that. I can respect it. And Pride of the Yankees. I remember my dad having me watch that. I was probably 12 or 13, and I was like, okay, this is something everybody's got to watch. If you're a baseball fan, actually, I'll throw in an honorable mention too. They did a great job a few years back. Chadwick Boseman in 42, also the Jackie Robinson. That was an unbelievable movie. I thought that was awesome.
Good. Did you ever see The Express?
No, I didn't
see The Express. 42 was so good. Chadwick, that's still today. Like you watch that movie,
Yeah.
And it still rings home. Like, I could watch that. If that's on TV, I'm going to watch it.
Wasn't that remind me, wasn't that Harrison Ford as Branch Rickey?
Yep.
He's unreal too. Even at whatever 80 years old he is now, he's A+ at everything too, man.
Harrison Ford and Clint Eastwood for me, just no matter what they're in. Like Clint Eastwood in what was it, Gran Torino? Gran Torino, I feel like might be like 10 to 15 movie of all time. But people hate my movie picks too. Like I love The Mighty Ducks, one of the greatest trilogies of all time, one of the greatest underdog stories of all time. Steve said, "I like this guy until his Yankee slander."
Oh, you'll get plenty. You'll get plenty of it out of me, man. The movie's the most praise that you're gonna get, man. I'm like a third generation Met fan. My grandpa was a New York Giants, like a big Willie Mays fan. Like I've got a Willie Mays bat, like that he left me right up here on the wall. Like you are not gonna get me. I respect the old days, and even my dad tells stories of growing up watching Reggie Jackson and stuff. But like. No, if I'm on this show, there will be Yankee slander. That is not a question.
Well, we would love to have you back anytime. This was fun, man. We could talk football. I mean, literally all day. But we all have other things to do. Thank you all for joining us tonight. A lot of fun. Dawn, if you want to tell the masses where they can find you, maybe some of the things you're doing right now, we would love to hear it.
Absolutely. On X, CFB_Dalton, DALTON, as you see on the screen right there. And keeping Preferred Walk On, keeping the college football show with Max Chadwick going. The past couple episodes, we ranked all 68 Power 4 starting quarterbacks on Friday. We got our top 10 running backs in the country today. So really running through our position rankings and things like that, ramping up towards the season. Come July, we're going to have previews on all 68 Power 4 teams. It's going to be just a preview extravaganza. And then, of course, we get to covering the games in season, which is always the best part. Despite the offseason and the draft and free agency and transfer portal and everything else, to me, the most fun part is still the game. So tune in, Preferred Walk On YouTube with myself and Max Chadwick.
We'll make sure to post a link. Show will be out later tonight. Dalton, we would love to have you back as soon as possible. And y'all have a spectacular night. And until next time, go Cougs.